everyone. Welcome back to Functional Spirituality. Today, I want to talk about really how to have a daily practice of anything. But speaking of a yoga practice, it's a question I get asked probably the most consistent question that I get asked as a teacher and as a yoga teacher, meditation teacher. How many times a week do you practice yoga? Or how many minutes per day do you practice yoga? So I thought I'd record a little training about how to have a daily yoga practice, because I do have a daily yoga practice. At this stage of my journey, being a practitioner for over 15 years and being a really dedicated practitioner. So my yoga practice started with me being really disciplined and going nearly every day. It was Bikram yoga, but I was really, really dedicated to it. And then I ended up living in communities and practicing every day, many hours a day. So there's a lot of discipline. But, people know I'm a real person. And as time has gone on, my practice has evolved and changed and ebbed and flowed. And now I do practice yoga every day. But it just looks like many different things. I'm talking about stretching my body, breathing and meditating, maybe visualizing, or anything else fitness and mobility related to my body is what I'm calling my daily yoga practice. So I wouldn't say that I have a daily meditation practice. I wouldn't say that I have a daily vinyasa practice or daily yin practice, but it's like a combination of all of those things. And the amount of time spent on the day, I would say, it's like at least 5 minutes in the day of those practices. And that's not all that I do every day. There's a lot of different things that I do each day to nourish me, to heal me, to cultivate me. So, there's a lot of things that I've woven into my life. Having a daily yoga practice has been a goal and a dream of mine for sure. But there's other things as well that are goals and dreams of mine that I've incorporated into my life. So, different nutrition rituals, different health and fitness and wellness and relationship rituals and things that I do every single day that are not a conscious decision anymore, but they've become a habit. And I guess that's the biggest thing is my goal and dream was always, could I make my yoga practice a habit? Something that takes no effort to do, something that I might organize a little bit for myself, but it doesn't require motivation to do it, something that becomes aligned with who I actually am. So if you do have a goal of having a daily yoga practice or a daily anything, we have to treat it like that. We have to treat it like a goal. And this kind of goal, if we want it to be sustainable long term, it can't rely on our willpower and it can't rely on motivation and it can't rely on everything being perfect. We have to find a way to make it a part of who we are and how to make it a habit. To have a daily yoga practice, it's because we have a yearning. We want the benefits of the practice. There's so many different benefits. If you think about what does yoga or meditation or whatever it is, what does it offer you? There's the benefits, right? But then there's something even deeper inside of us that just wants the consistency and the connection to that thing, to that practice. And the reason we have that deeper desire for consistency and connection to something is because we know that that will bring even more benefits when we're consistent with something. So the ultimate way to be consistent is to make it a habit, because consistency can look like discipline and consistency can look like something more pleasurable and fluid. And we might use discipline for sure to bring us consistency and to bring us into our practice and to help us develop the habit. Discipline can be a huge part of that, but our ultimate goal is to get to a place where it's more fluid and pleasurable as a daily practice. Or maybe you want it to be more of a daily discipline and be quite rigid as well. That is totally valid and it's also possible. So I guess you have to think about it. Do I want a daily discipline practice, which really looks the same every single day until I choose otherwise? Or do I want something that's more like blended into my life It could be 5 minutes, it could be an hour, it could look like a little stretch outside, or it could look like some time, solo time on the mat when no one's around, or it could look like having a stretch in the living room when everyone's around. Do you want it to be more like that, or do you want it to be more of a discipline? So making that decision early on and having a feel into that will help us with our next steps. If I'm to put down my consistent practice that I have that's embedded in my life and really fits in the way I want to, how did I get here? I would think it's about manifesting. So the way that I've kind of presented manifesting in the past, there was a whole series on it back in 2023 about how to manifest the functional spirituality way, so kind of calling out and cutting out some of the pitfalls of the manifesting practice. But really, to get a habit, to establish this goal, we're going to need some kind of strategy and manifesting consideration. So I'll take you through a few questions that you could journal down. How would journaling help you to reach your goal of a daily yoga practice or daily meditation practice? Journaling is not, just kind of like just writing for the sake of it, like having a pen pal, an imaginary pen pal. Journaling is just a way of helping to organize and move your attention and your subconscious towards something as well as reflecting and healing. So it's a really strong cultivating practice. So first, we want to think why, what, and how. So first, why? Why do I want this? What's my desire, actually? First, clarifying what this daily yoga practice, this daily fitness ritual, or this daily whatever, self-care, meditation, nurturing ritual, why do I want this? What's my desire is the first question to ask yourself. Then next is the what. What does it look like? Does it look like that disciplined practice of every single day in this spot doing this, or every single day using a podcast to do that? What does it actually look like? Does it look like something fluid? Does it look like a lifestyle? Does it look like any one of these 4 activities or 4 versions of this daily yoga practice or this daily practice you want to do? What does it look like? What are all the different versions that it could look like that would totally satisfy you in this goal? And then finally, how will I get it done? So where, when, who, how am I actually going to do this? How am I going to move myself towards the goal? What are all the different steps I could take? Are there things, props or materials that I need to buy? Is there an app that I need to research? How am I going to do the class? Is it going to be a guided class? Is it going to be on YouTube? Am I going to try the live stream? We have a full live stream timetable at Spanda, which many people use to do that practice from home. Or is it going to be, we also have a pre-recorded library, so you can just do, 10 minutes, 20 minutes totally on demand when you need. Is it going to be just listening to a guided meditation and having a stretch alongside it? There's so many ways that you can get it done. So planning out the steps towards that is going to be really helpful. With any goal, you're always going to have a strategy, a yin, a more internal, slower mindset planning time that can be overlooked, can be rushed past, but in there is where you find your alignment. That's where you refine and find your alignment. What do I really want and how would that look? You actually get to imaginatively figure it out and feel out. You start to feel what feels right and what feels aligned for you. What's going to be the way you're going to get it done. Your subconscious mind can totally figure that out for you if you slow down and give it some time to help you strategize. Normally when we rush into goals or we want to create a new habit, we're just focusing on some arbitrary outcome. It is actually arbitrary, something the mind has picked out from what it thinks is true without having that deeper check-in and alignment. So for me, having a daily yoga practice has meant years and years and so many journal entries, so many, honestly, about just casting this vision of what my experience needs, what I desire for my experience, what I want it to look like. And that definitely has included yoga, meditation, wellness, health, different rituals are a part of that. I don't have a problem where I don't know what I should be doing or could do or want to do. I know exactly what I should be doing and could do and want to do. Really, like, so some people might say, well, I need some guidance. I don't even know what I want to do yet. Well, then definitely reach out, and it's very easy to help prepare a little map for you about what you could be doing, so that then the next step is to kind of commit. How can I be consistent with it? How can I make it a habit? How can I embed it into my lifestyle? We've actually just redone our one-to-one mentoring page on the website, so you can have a look at functionalspirituality.com and see there's a few different ways that I could help you one-to-one in a session of mapping out a plan and getting clear about what that practice looks like, so that you can then do this kind of strategy and manifesting to help make it part of your life and to try to find a deeper alignment with what you truly want, and then map out that path towards it. So I hope this has been helpful. It might be a good idea to come back with a journal and pen in a slower time. It's not that it might be a good idea. It is definitely a good idea to come back to those questions halfway through this recording. Let me go through them right now. So they're just towards the end for you when you come back with your journal. You've come up with your goal of a daily yoga practice or a daily practice of some kind. Why? What do I desire? Why do I want this goal or habit to be a part of my life? Next, what? What does it look like? What are the different versions or the exact version that this habit or goal in my life looks like? So creating the environment and the practice and exactly how you would like to do it. And then how will I get it done? How will I get there? So putting in some steps for when you could start and where you would do it and what you need to do to prepare and when you're going to start, not when you're going to start and never again, never have that practice, but when are you going to start trying to make this practice a habit? Thanks so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful for you. And as always, thanks for all the feedback when we release the podcast. It's always nice to hear from you. And I know this invitation helps people to reach out. But yeah, love to hear from you and if this has been helpful and what questions you might have so I can address them in the next podcast. Have a great week. Thank you for tuning in to the Functional Spirituality Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe by pressing the plus button on iTunes or the following button on Spotify. This is going to ensure that this resource is available and top of mind when you most need it. So please subscribe now.